Opal Jewelry and Beads with you today with another Technique of the Week video. And for this week I thought we could talk about memory wire bracelets and also create a memory wire bracelet together. And as you can see, I have some beads lined up. I have a finished piece right here. If you don't know much about memory wire bracelets, I will definitely try to fill you in today. I'm wearing one here, another one that I made, but what's great about memory wire is that it is flexible and it holds its shape. So no matter what size wrist you have, it's pretty much one size fits all. And they're great to work with many different types of beads in like finishes and colors that you think go really well together. And they give a really nice stacked bangle look, but they're super easy to wear and to put on and take off, which I love because I don't like fooling too much with clasps on bracelets personally. So anyway, here's one example. Here's another example of a memory wire bracelet that I've made. And as you can see, the first step really to creating these bracelets is to go through your bead stash and to find beads that you like together. So kind of come up with a color scheme and then pull your beads together and start planning. Planning is what takes the most time for creating memory wire bracelets. Here's another example in like black and grays. But yeah, planning is really the most important and most time-consuming step, because once you have your piece planned out, all you have to do is basically string your beads. So, and that's a no-brainer. You can see I have 3 rows here. I love using my bead board for this type of project in particular, because with this project I have so many different kinds of beads that I'm working with. And I have different patterns that I want to use, and it really helps me to kind of figure out what I think looks nice, what I want my finished piece to look like. And I work from the outside row, you know, toward the last row. I have 3 rows here, and what you can't see yet is I have another 3 rows here. I like to make my memory wire bracelets about 5 or 6 links large. I don't know how to put that. But you can see like this one, for example, is about 6 rounds. And what I found is in the planning process is that you want to make each of these rounds, like a complete pattern, about 8 inches worth of beads. So when you're planning your bracelet, plan on about 8 inches of beads per circle. Okay? So, like I said, the planning is really the most important step. With these beads here, these blue beads, I went through my stash and I pulled a bunch of different colors and sizes and finishes that I thought went really well together. And I really like how they came out, so I'm excited to get started. And I just had to play around with each of these, what are going to be basically rounds, and make them kind of come out to be about 8 inches long so that they would fill up about 1 circle's worth. So another tip I have for you is if you're in the planning process and you're trying to figure out how to get things to kind of match up to 8 inches, do use your spacer beads. So if you have spacer beads in your stash, don't forget about those. Those are a great way if you need to get another inch or 2 on your strand, then take out your spacer beads and plop them in every so often. That's really what I do. So I kind of start out by picking out my largest beads that I want to use, the most bold colors, and then I kind of pick some other secondary beads that are maybe smaller, maybe different finish, but kind of work well as an accent, and then I pull out my spacer beads, and then I just keep filling things in, depending on how many beads I have. So I just work with what I have, and that's what takes the most time, just playing around and getting everything to kind of come out. It doesn't have to be perfect, but trying to get everything to come out to about 8 inches, each of these strands. So have them all laid out, and like I said, I usually plan to start from one end of my board and just keep going to my other end of my board. And one other thing I like to do is I like to use some of the larger beads that I'm using more toward the center of my bracelet. And again, that's not something you have to do. That's more of a design aesthetic that I feel looks the best, is not to have like the chunkiest beads on the two ends, but kind of have them graduated a little bit. But that's, again, up to you. If you want the chunky ones outside, you do what you want to do. It's your piece. So those are the biggest tips I have for you, and that intro to what we're going to be doing today. Now, if you haven't worked with memory wire before, this is what it looks like in the raw, and you can order it from probably any kind of bead or craft store. Locally, you can go pick some up. You can order online. I'm a huge online shopper, and they have this on Amazon for like $6.99 for 100 links, which is excellent. And by the way, I do have a lot of product links below this video in the information section, so if you're wondering where to get this memory wire or what kind I'm using, you can check that out. And also I have some other products there as well. You'll see the end caps for the memory wire, which I won't be using today because I actually don't have any yet. But what those are they look kind of like beads, but there's only a hole on one side, and it basically is like a stopper. And what you do is you clip the end of your memory wire, and then you add a little dab of glue, and then put on your stopper. A little tip for you is you can use some sandpaper, and before you glue, you can kind of sandpaper down just the end a little bit, and that'll help the glue to adhere a little bit better to the end cap. So I don't have those. Like I said, I'm going to show you another way that you can just finish these bracelets off, and that is by using a set of round nose pliers to make a little loop on the end. That way your beads aren't going to go flying off. It does look nice though to have end caps. Another tool that you might want to have in the future, if you don't already have one, is a special cutter for memory wire. So I don't have that either. It's on my list of things to purchase in the future, but you probably will ruin your regular wire cutters over time, especially if you use them often for memory wire, because it is thicker. So they do make special cutters that are for memory wire, and they do a great job of easily cutting through this thicker wire. So again, just, check out those links below if you're interested on seeing those products on Amazon. Alright, so once you have your beads lined up and you have your memory wire ready to go, it's just like a slinky, you can go ahead and pick up one end of your memory wire, and if you don't have end caps, this is where we'll get started, and you're just going to make a loop with your round nose pliers, and you can make that loop as big or small as you'd like. I try to make it not too terribly huge, but not too small where my beads will still go flying off. And I like to turn my loop away from the direction that it's bending. So I'm not bending it into the curve, I'm bending it away from the curve. So we'll do that. Just like that. So we have our little loop. And because it's pretty thick wire, it may take you a minute to get it right. Okay, and like I said, I'm going to be making a 6-strand memory wire bracelet today. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6, and then I suggest just grabbing a little bit extra, so I just go to about 7 full links. Okay, and then we're going to take, you can take your special memory cutting wires if you have those, or if you don't yet, you can use your regular wire cutters. And you can see we have our loop on one end that's going to stop our beads, and we have 6 full strands plus some additional that we'll have at the end to finish our piece. And at this point we just have to start stringing. So it's pretty simple. Like I said, once it's all laid out, just get everything as precisely laid out as you can, and just start on one end and continue on your rows until you finish your bracelet. So I'm going to go ahead and start stringing, and I'm going to put this in fast motion so you can get the impact of what I'm doing without having to wait the entire time. So before I continue on, I just wanted to show you guys how about 8 inches worth of beads makes about one of these strands. So it's about there, and it's just right. So each of these rows is going to make its own strand and look like a beautiful set of bangles. Alright, so you can see we have all of our 6 strands of beads strung, and it wasn't hard at all. And I'm just pushing everything down as close to the end as possible so that there aren't any gaps in the beads. So I'm just pushing all these beads down. And you can see we do have plenty of extra, so if you don't want to clip off 7 links of wire, you could get away with doing just like 6.5 if you're doing like a 6-strand bracelet or a 6 round size bracelet. That way you don't have this extra waste. I could have even done like a whole nother strand, but better safe than sorry. Don't want to have you guys clip off a piece that's too short and then run out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip my wire a little, I would say probably between 1/4 and 1/2 inch. I'll cut it right here. I'm just going to eyeball it. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on this end that I did on the other end. So I'm just going to loop it that way, away from the curve. I'm going to use my round nose pliers. I'm just going to loop it back. And that's going to hold the beads in place. And again, if I had end caps for my wire, I would put those in place. And links to those types of products, like I said, are below if you're interested. But here we go. Here is our memory wire bracelet. I love how it came out. It kind of gives me a under the sea vibe, I think, with these shells and the pearls and the color, the blue, the iridescence. So I think I'm going to add a little charm onto my bracelet. I'll be right back. Alright, so I found this cute little starfish charm in my stash, and I'm just going to open up this little jump ring. And I'm going to put it right on the end loop of one side of this bracelet, and I think it's going to look really cute because it just reminds me of Under the Sea or something. And these little details always add something extra to a piece, make them feel a little bit more special and personalized. So if you have anything like that you want to use, definitely keep it in mind. You can see how it kind of will dangle over the other strands like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on. So easy to put these on. I love that. Just like this. And there you have it, guys. So that is a memory wire bracelet. That is the process and the tools and materials that you may need in order to complete one if you are interested in that. There are really so many possibilities when it comes to memory wire. They even make memory wire rings and they make memory wire necklaces. So where you could do like one strand, it's kind of like a choker or something like that. I haven't played around with that yet, but I sure do love making these bracelets. It's a great way to put beads together and come up with a really cool look. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you had fun beading along with me, maybe learned a little something. Please feel free to leave me a comment below or a question. Let me know your thoughts, or if you have any of your own suggestions or tips for memory wire bracelet making, feel free to leave those below as well. And I'd love to have you again soon with me on my next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I would also love for you to follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, and Etsy. Orchid and Opal Jewelry. Thanks for watching!